All right, we're live, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. I have my two co-hosts with me, Alec Carr and Dustin Hunt, and Ethan might be joining us a little bit later, so we'll see about that. But before we get started talking about the UFC 277, obviously our headlines, we gotta talk about our sponsors real quick. Okay, anybody that has any prone injuries from sports or like the gym or anything like that, you need your CBD products. In order to do that, you have to go to rxhemp.com. They have premium CBD products right there. Use our promo code RXHemp-USN and get 10% off your entire order today. As well as if anybody is betting on the pay-per-view, which I know a lot of people are because I've been in a couple of chats here and there, and they're betting on the main event especially. You can go to mybookie.ag and use promo code USN100 for a 100% sign-up bonus today. All right, so we have a couple of headlines to talk about before we get into our pay-per-view card. So we're going to talk about, everybody's talking about this right now, okay? After Paddy Pimblett's performance last week against Jordan Levitt, which I gotta say really impressed me. Everybody's now comparing him to Conor McGregor. They're saying he's the next Conor McGregor. He's having his Conor McGregor moment. Okay, let's talk about this. I think, Alec, you're the one that brought this up, so I'm going to turn to you first. What do you think about this? Do you think Paddy is next Conor McGregor? Do you think he has the potential, or do you think it's just, this is totally different from what Conor McGregor has done?
Yeah, I don't like the whole idea of people saying he is the next Conor. I know I have slipped into that mistake, but when I say it, I never mean he absolutely is. It's a lock. I would actually argue, so Dan Hardy was on Ariel Hawaii's show, or however you say his last name. I can never pronounce it. And he stated that, the potential was definitely there for him to be even bigger than Conor. If you watched the whole show, you watched him explain it. And his take on it was really interesting, and I definitely agree. I think he has the potential to be just as big or bigger than Conor McGregor. One is because of Conor. The UFC is more popular than it's ever been because of Conor McGregor, and he hasn't even fought since fighting Dustin. So, because of Conor has set a platform up for Paddy, he can then reach out and get even more people to become casuals who will then become more hardcore fans. I mean, you can look at even this show. I love Ethan, but Ethan started as a casual but is becoming a hardcore fan. And there's a lot of these young guys coming up. I wish he was here so I could ask him about it. But there's a lot of these young guys coming up like Paddy, like Sugar Sean, who will steal the show. So when we talk about this, the framework has to be set the right question. It's not, is Paddy gonna be Conor? Is Paddy Conor? It's, does Paddy Pimble have the potential to be Conor McGregor? And I think it's yes. I think it's 100% yes. I think he could be bigger. And the reason I say that is because, one, Conor's always been a nut job. So is Paddy, don't get me wrong. But Conor's always been a nut job. He's always been the heel. Always. Paddy is a heel a lot of the time, but he talks about important things. We saw it, and he always had. This isn't any. I hope everybody knows that this is not anything new for Paddy Pimble. He's always been very vocal on, depression, dealing with depression, talk about it. He just has a spotlight now, so people are hearing about it. The day after he fought, a mural was painted of him in London of his quote from the post-fight interview. This is what we're talking about. This is how big he is already. That's Conor level shit right there. That was happening to Conor on his come up. People were immediately reacting to everything he was saying. And that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I identify, and that's what Dana White identifies. He already says that his next fight's going to be in Boston. He's going to fight in Boston, then in Vegas. That's the road for Paddy. You know what Conor's road was? Boston and then in Vegas. After he made it big, that's what it was. Then he went back to Boston, then back to Vegas again. So This is a big deal. Dana White understands it. Paddy is bigger because one, he's crazy. He's a nut job. He's fun to watch. I mean, the fact that he actually teabagged Jordan Levitt, it was just hilarious because he actually did it. And that's the kind of things that, and a big part of it is, he's got that thick, why am I blanking? Liverpool accent. He's got that thick Liverpool accent, and it is fun to listen to him talk. It is. It just is. He's got that accent, and the Liverpool accent, the Irish accent, the British accent is just fun to listen to. And he is brash. He tells it like he is. He doesn't bullshit, but he also talks about important things, which is something Conor never really did and still doesn't do. So I think in that sense, with the platform being bigger now because of what the framework Conor set, yes, he absolutely has the potential to be bigger.
Yeah, for sure. Dustin, what do you have to say about Paddy Pimble? Do you think he has the potential to be, Conor McGregor-esque or even bigger than Conor McGregor? What do you think?
I agree with Alex's kind of first sentiment. First of all, saying that he's going to be Conor McGregor is a little bit far. That's a little bit far. We're talking about, the highest pinnacle in MMA. Like, there's very few people that'll probably ever reach it, ever again, if there is anybody. And Paddy is one of the guys, Sugar Sean. They're part of that group that could be. The only thing I actually could differ between Conor and Paddy would be the shit talking. Because Conor was more earnest in shit talking. He was a lot more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't exactly reacting to people. He was doing the offending. And he was the one talking big. Like, he did not care. He'd call names. He'd do stuff like that. He'd be crazy. Another thing is the competition level for me. When Conor McGregor first got in the UFC, he was a little bit more touted. I don't think people realize that he was a 2-division champ over Cage Warriors. So when he got in the UFC, he was already ranked a little bit high. Like, they were already kind of seeing him as a huge talent. He fought Max Holloway. He fought Dustin Poirier. He fought Brimage. He was going against guys a little bit higher. I think Paddy's going to get brought up a little bit slower. But when it comes to his personality, Paddy is definitely in line to take that title throne. I don't think Ian Gary's even going to really go to it because he's kind of silent. I mean, I don't know if have you been around and paid attention to him lately, but he's not as vocal as Paddy. He's not as vocal as Conor. We'll see. Paddy definitely needs to keep winning fights. And the one advantage I'll say he has over Conor is he has a electric ground game. He's not only with his hands, he does some weird stuff in grappling. So he's exciting either way the wind blows. Conor is only really exciting on the feet. Once you got him on his back, most of the time you can hold him down. Like, wrestlers were able to kind of keep him out. But he got up, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't exactly a rear naked choke. He wasn't doing flying triangles. He wasn't doing weird shit. So we'll see. I think to get where Conor is for Paddy, I think he already has London. Obviously, the UK is obviously behind him, and that's very important, just like Dublin was, just like Ireland was. So it's very important to have a home country that's very, very behind you. So I think he has all the platform, the perfect base to go higher. I just think that if he's going to be Conor-esque, he needs to get a little bit more aggressive with the shit talking when it comes to his opponents. I know he's a good guy, and he genuinely is. I think he's a nice guy. If you met him in person, he'd probably be the greatest guy to ever hang out. But Conor was too. Conor talks shit for business. I don't think Conor's actually the meanest guy in the world. I think if you met him today in public, you would never guess. It's weird, but I don't think he would actually be that mean to people. But I think he does need to amp up the shit talking when it comes to his opponents. That's one thing I will say. If he wants to be Conor, he better start talking a little bit more aggressively for marketing when it comes to an opponent.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree on both of your points, especially with Alex saying that the one thing that Patty does differently than Conor is talk about, the big issues out there. And I love that about Patty. It's funny because, like, when both Conor and Patty started, I wasn't a big fan of them. I thought they were kind of annoying. I still think Patty's a little bit annoying, but, he does this for, social media, for the fans, for the organization and all that. And I think that it's great that he's talking about these big issues, because that's what you need, people with these kind of platforms to do in this world. But speaking of Conor McGregor, we are going to move on to something that is not the most exciting, in my opinion, fight, even though a lot of people are like talking about it like it's the next big thing. Oh, we got Conor versus Floyd Too in the works. It looks like the rumors are definitely a brewing for this one. I think, personally as a fan, I don't really want to watch another Conor versus Floyd fight. I think they settled it, the first time, and it was all the hype in the world at that time, and I don't know why they're doing it again. I get it. It's like, another money fight. But I really want to see Conor back in the UFC, like, where he started. And I really want to see that versus another boxing match. Alec Carr, what are your thoughts on this rumor of a boxing match happening?
So this all started with Conor McGregor saying, "I accept," on a Floyd Mayweather Instagram post maybe it wasn't even Floyd Mayweather. I don't think it was. It was of a fight personality saying he's hearing rumors with a poster, a fake poster of, and I want to stress that it was a fake poster, guys. It wasn't real. No publication put it out. It was a fake poster. The rumors are swirling. Dana White is very. I mean, last time this happened, he was like, yeah, we're gonna build this fight, and the UFC. But he said, if Conor Floyd happens, the UFC needs to be part of it, meaning the UFC needs to make money off of it. That was Dana's big thing, and he kept saying that over and over again when he was asked about it. The difference now is Dana is claiming that every time he talks to Conor is dedicated on coming back to the UFC by the end of the year. He just put it out yesterday saying that I saw the rumors, I've heard the rumors. He said they're fucking crazy. If this fight happens, based off of what Conor's telling me, it's happening in the cage. So, which we all know Floyd Mayweather is never going to step foot in the octagon. And why would he? He's pound for pound the best boxer of all time in many people's opinions. Why would he tarnish that reputation? He doesn't have to either. He's rich. He's got money for days. And I love hearing the people go, well, Floyd's probably getting broke again. Floyd has never been broke since he's been a superstar. He's been superstar broke. That's different. That means instead of having $100 million, he has $99 million. Like he's never been broke since he's been a boxing superstar. So let's just get that straight. Second of all, Conor does seem dedicated every time. This is, he loves to do this stuff, right? Conor loves to poke. He loves to poke the fans and go, and he's always done it, and he's always stepped up, and he's always been willing to fight anyone. I don't care what anybody says. Say all the negative things about Conor you want to. This man has always been willing to fight anyone. Did you know, I just read just a side note, read a really interesting fact about Conor McGregor. He's only, at the time, and I think he still is, the only reigning champ that stepped up 2 weight classes to fight somebody who wasn't a champ in Nate Diaz. And he did it in 10 days. So I don't want to hear anybody say Conor doesn't fight anyone. Anyway, I don't think this is happening. I think this is bullshit. If this was happening, Dana White, you'd be hearing Dana White saying the UFC is part of it. We're going to make a ton of money. We're going to do this. We're going to get $100 million paydays all around for everybody again. And that's not happening. Technically, Conor's not part of the UFC anymore, so he doesn't really have to abide by what Dana White says. Though I do think he's kind of in that UFC gray area where he has 2 fights under contract or something still, or a fight under contract, so he has to do that fight. So the only way I think to make this fight happen, like the last one, is if the UFC is involved. Because that's the exact same scenario that happened last time. He was under contract with the UFC. He had an obligation to fulfill a fight under the UFC, but the UFC was able to make it an exception because they were involved in that fight. So I don't know. I like you and probably like Dustin. I wouldn't pay for this fight. I think Conor and Floyd both know that. I think they're having fun with fans. Don't forget that Conor and Floyd Mayweather are actually friends. They don't hate each other like they made people think. So they probably got together and were like, let's have some fun with people and get our names out there and get some clicks again. This fight's not happening because it's not going to sell. It's not going to do the – what did it do? 4 million PPV buys or something crazy? like it's not going to do that again. Everybody knows. All fight fans know how this fight turned out. Everyone, every single fight fan knows. So I don't think it happens. I think Conor's coming back to the octagon before even considering boxing again.
All right, Dustin, what do you think about this rumor of a boxing match? Do you think it's gonna happen? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think about it?
It's terrible and it shouldn't happen. The mystique that sold 4 million PPVs was that can a young double champ in his prime MMA superstar beat an all-time great in the boxing ring, which was ludicrous to begin with. Ludicrous to begin with. If you've actually been a fan of boxing and watched boxing long enough, you knew Floyd. There was no shot of Conor beating him in a boxing ring. No shot. Now, was it intriguing? Sure, I watched it. It was intriguing. Floyd let him get some rounds in, 1 through 4. He let him get tired, and eventually, Mayweather took over, like predictably. The mystique in this fight's gone, so there is no selling point. Floyd already TKO'd the dude. Conor has been losing MMA. There is no draw to this fight, and what's sad for boxing is the only fight that outsold this one was Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather. That's terrible in my opinion for the sport of boxing. That just makes him look stupid. But, it's bad for boxing as well. This is what people don't understand. It's bad for boxing. Boxing is coming up on an era right now where it might be the most popular than it's been in 10 years. You got Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, Earl Spence, and Terrence Crawford are now in the cusp of fighting. Their contract should be, I think they should be fighting by the end of the year. You got Canelo and Triple G running it back third time. There's so much going on in boxing that's so potentially great that if this fight is made, oh my goodness, boxing promoters are gonna cry. Like they're just gonna cry because this would interrupt so much traffic to the boxing world that it'd just be stupid. So therefore, I hope it doesn't happen, and it's for the sake of both sports because this isn't good for MMA. Conor freaking going boxing again, it's just dumb. Conor, if you're gonna fight, just fight in MMA again. I don't really care who it is. I mean, just go back to the UFC. But there's too much traction in boxing right now for a fight like this to happen. I don't see why they would make it. I don't get it. If it's an exhibition, then make it. I don't know. But a pro fight, I don't think so. This shouldn't be like some pro. This shouldn't be sanctioned by a state athletic commission. I don't see why that would be the case. But this is on some Jake Paul level type shit. If this happens, like this is just laughable. This is comical to me if it happens because I'm not paying for it. I'll watch the highlights after it, but Floyd's gonna win again because I don't care how old Floyd is. Conor will never be good enough to beat him in a boxing ring. He'll never be good enough unless like Floyd gets dementia and like he forgets how to throw a punch, or that's just how it's gonna work. So hopefully this fight doesn't happen. It's terrible for both sports, and that's really just my take on that.
Yeah, I hear you. I agree. I definitely don't want this to happen. I want Conor to go back to the UFC where he belongs and fight there. Speaking of fights, though, we have somebody who is really, really how do I say this? Like up and coming right now. Muhammad Mokav, it calls out Brandon Royval. Okay, so obviously Brandon Royval's up there in the rankings. I can see the call out right now. I'm actually, a little nervous if this fight happens for Brandon Royval, just because even though I believe in his abilities and obviously I believe in his jiu-jitsu, Mokaev is really, really impressive recently. So I want to go to Alec Carr first. What do you think about this call out? Do you think it makes sense? Do you like it? Do you want to see this match happen?
I mean, we're talking about a grappling match. It's not going to sell seats or anything. I mean, the fight fans will really like it. I think it's because Brandon Royval has that high level Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's really long and lean. He has those long limbs to really crank necks, crank arms, crank legs, and really exactly like Dubronx, who's he's not the tallest lightweight, but that guy's arms are like, I don't know where his torso is because he's all arms and legs. And then Brandon Royval's got that same thing going on where he's just longer than everybody in the division, and it really is to his advantage in the ground game. He's not the best striker, though. We've seen that. I think everybody on this show has been waiting for the day that Brandon Royval develops a striking game, because if he does, he'll be the most dangerous guy in that division, probably. He really will. The guy's absolutely terrifying on the ground. So I would be excited for this fight. The one thing I think it's a bad call out for Mohamed Makaev, there we go. Because he's 21 years old. He's on the upturn. We all watched last fight, and say what you will about him not wanting to strike. He said afterwards, "I'm standing across from a world-class striker. Why am I doing that? Why would I do that? I'm 21 years old. I'm the best wrestler in the division," in his words. Why would I strike against that guy when I could just out-wrestle him? Which is, obvious, and he did it. You can't do that to Brandon Royval because he excels from the bottom. He wants to be on the bottom. like it's totally different. Like how Paul Craig wanted last weekend desperately to practice his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's what Brandon Royval would be like, please take me down. Let's see how good of a wrestler you actually are. So I don't know who would win this fight, because I really don't think anybody stands out. I think it would end up being standing, just because these are two guys that are incredible on the ground. Whenever that happens, the two guys end up standing for most of the fight anyway. So I think it's a bad call out for him. I don't understand it. There are a lot better call outs for him in the division. So again, he could have called Manuel Kopp and he would have destroyed him. Tim Elliott, he actually floated that name around. You could call out Tim Elliott. You could call out Matt Schnell. I think it's also a big jump for him. He thinks he's going to go from unranked to 5th. That's just not going to happen. So, it might in the flyweight division. Who knows? But again, it would be a fun fight to watch for fight fans. But I don't think it's a good call out for him. He needs to focus on fights to get notoriety right now. He needs to focus on fights with names that people know, but are, I hate to say this, but should be easy victories for him, so that he can build that win count and get to that next level of popularity. That being said, he goes out and he beats up Brandon Royval. We're all like, holy shit. But I really like both of these guys, and these guys are definitely going to be top of the division for a long time to come, because they're both very young.
No, I agree. What's called Dustin? I'm gonna go to you. Do you think that Mokaev made a good choice calling out Rock Dog Royval, or what do you think about that?
I mean, Alec kind of sung to the choir there. I mean, if you're a wrestler and you want to go against a guy who's very good at, BJJ, and very good at throwing submissions and is comfortable on his back, which not a lot of people are. Especially calling out, a good I don't know if he's going to get that fight. Was it a good call out? Yeah, I think it's a good call out simply because you never know, dude. You might have the Jorge Masvidal effect where you get to run your mouth and just get fights. I don't know. I mean, you get the Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal type thing. Run your mouth, get fights. I mean, closed mouths don't get fed. I mean, hey, man, our mom's been telling us that since we were 5, right? And it is what it is. I don't blame him for calling out Royval. Does he beat him? Not sure. First of all, I don't understand how he doesn't have. I just don't get it. Like I always thought the same thing about basketball, right? So you're in the NBA, right? I don't care if you're 6'10". Why can't you shoot a 10-foot jump shot? Why can't you do that? We learned how to do that when we were 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the way I think about it. When it comes to MMA, why don't you know how to box? Why can't you strike? To me, it just makes no sense. I don't get it. I personally don't get it because you're gonna have to go against guys who can strike. I mean, you have to at least put in the effort. I understand your path to victory is mostly wrestling, but a lot of people don't understand if you're good at wrestling, you can do feints, you can get them to duck their head, you can get them to move, and you can hit them a certain way with your hands, and you can look like a good striker even if you're not. So even if you just have a decent you have a good wrestling game, and you have a decent hands, and you can use your wrestling to feint, to get them to kind of move, get them to bite, you can knock people out just like that. Ask DC. He did it all the time. DC is not some pro boxer. I mean, come on. He did it all the time. All the time. I just don't understand why these guys don't. I don't get it. You're never going to get popular. You're not Khabib. Khabib's the only guy I know that really couldn't strike that good and got really popular. In this division, there's a lot of talent. These guys are faster. The smaller in weight you get, the more skilled they are. It is what it is. They're faster. They're more athletic. I don't know if they hit as hard, but for you, they hit hard because you're their size. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. It's a good call out, but I want to see him go. I want to see him kind of evolve a little bit. So I kind of agree. I mean, Royval, I don't think he's going to get Royval, though. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to get Royval. If he does, then, maybe like you guys said, maybe Masvidal running his mouth or Nate Diaz running his mouth, getting these fights and things like that. It might happen, but we'll see about that, and we'll keep.
If you look at real quick to Dustin's point, look at Sugar Sean. Sugar Sean's getting Petr Yan, the best guy in the division, just because he ran his mouth enough. So it does work. The one thing I do want to point out, though, that Mokaev is probably not considering, Brandon Royval over his professional career, he has 20 fights in total. 11 of his 14 victories are by submission.
Which is great. That's
11.
great.
That's insane. That is insane. And 9 of them just going through it. 9 of them are from the bottom. So it's not a guy you want to be in the octagon with. It doesn't match your style at all. And I did forget to mention Brandon Royval did switch gym affiliations. He is now in a Muay Thai gym. So hopefully he learns how to strike, because if he does, he will be the champion of that division shortly.
Yeah, for sure. I can see him being kind of like DuBronx, especially if he learns how to strike. So we'll keep an eye out on Royval in that regard. But we have a pay-per-view to talk about, even though it's not the most exciting pay-per-view, as many people know. Fight fans have talked about it or not talked about this pay-per-view, but we are going to get started with the light heavyweight bout between Magomed Ankalaev and Anthony Smith. Okay, first of all, what the fuck is this fight? Magomed is just going to destroy this man. Anthony Smith, I don't know how you got this fight. I mean, I kind of get it, in terms of your wins and things like that, but it's just, this fight is to me a joke. I think Magomed is just better in so many different aspects of the fight game. He's gonna destroy him. End the story. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, I'm gonna go to Ali Carr. Who do you think is gonna win this fight?
Magomed's going to win this fight. And if you remember the timing of all this is, Rokic had his fight scheduled with there was no one for Magomed to fight. And this is, I think, a favor to Anthony Smith because he's been so loyal. He's been such a company guy. I mean, we see him already starting to commentate. He does a lot of the post-fight stuff, a lot of the pre-fight stuff. So they're like, I think they're just literally throwing him a bone and saying, if you beat this guy, you probably should fight for the championship again. So but Magomed, he's the better wrestler. Honestly, he's the better striker too. He's just better than Anthony Smith at everything. So I think we see a knockout. Honestly, I think Magomed's going to knock him out in the first round. I do want to point out, my weekly check in on prelims. The prelims aren't that great in this fight either. But one to look at is the Dontel Mays versus Hamadi Abadelwaba, who's a newcomer onto the UFC scene. I know it's a heavyweight prelim fight, which you don't get a lot of. These are two guys who I know Dontel's 9-4, but these are two guys that need to be paid attention to. Two absolute beasts. And then you have Drakkar Klose, which is just crazy that he's on a prelim fight versus Rafa Garcia, which is a must-watch lightweight bout. But yeah, Magomed's going to absolutely annihilate Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, which is just the wrong nickname for him. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right, Dustin, who do you think's going to win? Are you going to side with the Russian in this one?
Well, that's obvious. I mean, a Russian and it's him. So, I hope Anthony Smith shows us some good technical stuff against Magomed. We'll see. I still even forgot that, how you said it wasn't technical, how someone rolled out of a Kimura. Rolled out. He rolled out. And he said that wasn't technical. That doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense how you're a black belt and you said that rolling out of a submission that you were in. You were in it. As a matter of fact, you were locked in it. And you rolled out of it. It wasn't technical, guys. It just wasn't.
It just speaks to his fight IQ. That's his biggest problem. He's just not he's not very smart when he's inside the octagon.
And then, I mean, dude, let's be honest. Let's compare the two. First of all, Anthony Smith is a stick in the mud compared to Magomed. It's not even close. He's slow. Magomed it's going to use him as a bag. Like, literally, he's going to use him as a pad session. That's literally how I see it. A pad session with a little bit of the bounce back, like the little bag, the speed bag you hit, comes back. That's pretty much what Anthony Smith's about to be. Like, where it's going. You're just going to hit him. And he can wrestle him. There's no way Anthony Smith can beat the dude. And there's nowhere. And I've never seen a more athletic advantage in light heavyweight than this fight. Because Magomed is 10 times the athlete that Anthony Smith is. I respect Anthony Smith, though. Don't get me wrong. I will never say, like, he's bad. Because, honestly, I mean, he had his little run. Anthony Smith, he did all right. I respect him as a fighter. I mean, he's good. He's not below average or anything. But, I mean, he's not on this guy's level. Not even close. Throwing him a bone, I just think that, honestly, I think this is the only guy they had right now because everybody else is fighting. Hill's fighting. A bunch of other guys are fighting. I mean, the light heavyweight championship just happened. I mean, there's the light heavyweights real matched right now. So I believe that this kind of just happened so Anthony Smith could see if he was, over the hill. So we'll see. But I think Anthony Smith's going to get beat up. So.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that. Okay, let's move on to the next fight, which we were speaking of flyweights, and this is a flyweight bout between Alexander Pantoja versus Alex Perez. Now, we were talking about this a little bit before the show started. Me and Alec were talking about this. We're thinking this is an all right fight. I like Pantoja. Perez is scrappy. They're definitely both very technical. Especially on the ground. So it's going to be interesting to see what it's called. Alec Carr, I'm going to go to you first. In my opinion, I think Pantoja wins. I think Alex Perez is very talented. I just think that Pantoja just has the edge on him on a few things, so that's why I think he's going to win.
Yeah, and if you really break it down, Pantoja has the much better resume. I mean, he's got wins over Brandon Royval. He beat Manuel Kopp, who we all know even though he's got his little drug problem that he's fighting right now. The guy's a legit fighter. I mean, the UFC signed him recently for a reason because they're trying to catapult him and really get insert more talent into this division. And Pantoja that just made him look bad. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that fight. It was a lot of Pantoja standing, which was weird to see. And then, he lost to Askarov, but he beat Matt Schnell. His losses are to guys, except for Dustin Ortiz a while back. His losses are to Figgy, Askarov. Pantoja's right there with the best of the best in this division. And I like Alex Perez as well. He lost to Benavidez and Davison Figueroa as well. But the way I see this fight happening is if Pantoja gets in trouble, I do think he's the better overall fighter. And I think that he wins this fight. I do. I think it goes all the way. I think it goes all 3 rounds, but I think it's a unanimous decision for Alexander Pantoja.
All right, Dustin, how do you think this flyweight bout's going to happen between Pantoja versus Perez?
I don't have any fireworks for this fight. I mean, this is a decent 125. I mean, I don't think it belongs on the main card almost. I mean, if you really ask, not a PPV, right, especially. I got Pantoja. I mean, I think like I said, I agree with Alec. He's a better overall fighter. I like Alex Perez. Don't get me wrong. I mean, again, they both lost to great guys. And by the way, Askarov is a fucking beast. By the way, if anybody wants to ask, if you lose to that cat, I'm sorry. I remember the first time I saw him fight and it wasn't against a big guy. I pinned him right then and there. I was like, "Yep, that's a title contender." Mm-hmm. So if you lose to Askarov, I mean, hey, I don't blame you at all. I got Pantoja. It's pretty simple to me. I just think he's a better overall guy. I don't think that Perez is going to threaten him with anything. I don't think he's threatening him on the feet. I don't think he's really going to threaten him on the ground. Pantoja, he's a better all-around fighter. I don't really see this. I don't see a finish, really. I'll be honest. I don't see a finish, but I see Pantoja by unanimous.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all in agreement on that one. So far, we've been on agreement on the fight so far. But now we're moving on to a heavyweight bout, which this is going to get interesting, I feel like, between the 3 of us, because it's between Derrick Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich. And I can't stress enough that, okay, I am not a Derrick Lewis fan, but I don't know what it is. He's like the definition of the puncher's chance. Like, he just literally gets so lucky, and then he just gets like the opportunity to knock people out, and he does it. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's gonna win this fight. Even though obviously Sergey is very talented, his record says it for himself, but it's just, I think that Derrick Lewis, for some reason, just knows how to get it done. And I don't think it has anything to do with technique. I think it has everything to do with opportunity and luck at the same time. And I think he's going to win. So, Alec Carr, who do you think is going to win this heavyweight bout?
You guys know how I feel about Derrick Lewis. I want him out of the UFC. Listen, I understand he's very entertaining. His knockouts are exciting, but he has no business being absolutely no business being ranked 5th overall in the heavyweight division. He's not the 5th best fighter in the heavyweight division, but like you said, Monique, he is the definition of a puncher's chance. If he's in a fight, he just has to land one clean shot. That's it. Not even clean. He just needs to land one shot, and you are done. We saw it with Curtis Blades. We've seen it over and over again with him. Curtis Blades, Alexei Olenek, Yair Latifi, Alexander Volkov, Francis Ngannou. We saw Francis Ngannou. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Francis Ngannou lost to Derrick Lewis. So it's always hard to pick against Derrick Lewis, but I always do it because he pisses me off because he's not as talented as these guys. He's just not. He's not on the same level. He's got a heavy hand, a really probably I'm going to go out there and say this. He's probably the most powerful puncher in UFC history. I mean, it backs it because he's not as talented as these guys that he's beaten, a lot of them, but he beats them because of his power. He's a pure power puncher. That being said, Sergey Pavlovich. I don't know if you guys remember that Shamil fight. But a lot of people were picking Shamil before that fight because Shamil was supposed to be considered one of the guys coming up. Sergey Pavlovich said, no way, and absolutely annihilated him with the ground and pound victory in 4 minutes in the first round. He destroyed Maurice Green. He destroyed Marcelo Golm. The only loss that he has right now is against Al-Sattar over Rahim when Al-Sattar over Rahim was making his final run. Sergey Pavlovich is an incredible striker, and guess what? A world-class Greco-Roman wrestler. This guy is no joke. He can beat Derrick Lewis all over the octagon. And I think he does get this done. I think he wins this fight. I think, and worst comes to worst, this fight goes to the ground where he can excel over Derrick Lewis at because his ground game is very good too. Sergey Pavlovich, after winning this, is right up there with these top guys. I'm telling you right now, I am totally behind this guy. And please, Sergey, do not make a fool of me. Do not make a fool of me and let Derrick Lewis land a clean shot on you. Please, Sergey, because I'm fully behind you. You have the same amount of support I gave to Cyril Gane, when he was coming up. Sergey Pavlovich, I hope after he wins this fight, I know Gane has a fight with Bam Bam, one of my favorite guys. But I hope that Sergey gets a chance against Cyril Gane because that fight would be fucking incredible after this. I think next on deck would actually make sense for him would be Curtis Blades. Even though Curtis Blades really wants that rematch against Aspinall. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. Sergey Pavlovich is a guy people need to watch out for because he is going to beat the shit out of people. He just is. He's a scary, scary, scary giant. I think he weighed in once at 200. His walk-around weight is 285 pounds. The guy is just an absolute monster. He's 6'3" with an 83-inch reach that has to cut like 40 pounds to get down weight at heavyweight. Of pure muscle, by the way. The guy is absolutely terrifying. I think he needs to change. He needs the nickname. He's what's his name? I can't even think right now from Rocky. He is just the epitome of that. So Pavlovich is going to win this fight. I'm manifesting it because he's better everywhere, and he's not just as powerful because no one is, but he's close.
I agree on the analysis, but for some reason I still think Derrick Lewis gets it done. Dustin, who do you think gets it done between these two heavyweights?
I hope it's not Derrick Lewis.
Yeah.
First of all, my problem is Derrick Lewis is not winning a championship. It's not happening. Like he's not beating Nagano, bro. Like it's just not happening. Nagano, he's not doing it. And he already lost the game, I believe. He got lucky against Volkov, by the way. He should have lost that fight. He got a lucky right hand, I think, that dropped Volkov.
So I'm telling you, lucky puncher's chance. That's him right there.
My problem is people think he's funny. I don't think he's funny. Like he is famous like my balls was hot. How is that funny? I just don't understand how that was hilarious. Like
that was funny. Okay. Come on.
I was like, it wasn't funny. Like it was goofy. Like it wasn't funny. I thought it was just goofy. I don't like when he was talking shit to Gane. I didn't think that was funny either. I don't see how he's funny. I don't see where that was funny at all, to be real. Like I said though, like Monique and Alex said, he has that stupid one punch. It is what it is. Ask Curtis Blades. That was the funniest knockout I've ever seen. I thought it was hilarious, dude. But Derrick Lewis, I hope he gets beat. And like Alex said, I think he's fighting a more athletic dude. I mean, he's going up against a guy that's a lot more how to say it, physically talented. He's probably faster. I don't think he probably doesn't punch as hard because some people just have natural power, and Derrick Lewis is one of them. I'm gonna pick my Russian in this fight. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Derrick Lewis is gonna get. I don't think he gets beat up, but I think he's gonna get outpointed in this one.
Yeah, I really hope so. We'll see about that. I'm still going with Derrick Lewis. I don't know why. I just think he knows how to get it done somehow, some way.
Well,
But
and Monique, I know why. Because he wins when he's not supposed to. Like it's like he's just everybody. So we all know there's no such thing as a perfect fight. Everybody makes a mistake. Curtis Blades shot that takedown like an idiot and got uppercutted to the face. Like because Curtis Blades walked in and said, "I'm just going to take him down and ride him for 3 rounds." That's why you're picking him, because everybody makes a mistake, and we see it over and over again with Derrick Lewis. He, though not very smart, not very high fight IQ, he recognizes mistakes though, and he does, and he capitalizes on them. And I can't say it's lucky anymore because he's built his entire career off of it, beating guys he has no business beating. So, and honestly, the fights he wins, Cyril Gane, when he lost to Cyril Gane, you really look at that fight, because I've watched it a bunch of times. Again, Cyril Gane, of course, made mistakes. Every fighter makes mistakes in the octagon. It's just what happens. But his mistakes were so little and so tiny. That was the closest thing to a perfect fight you can do. There was no mistakes he could capitalize on. So I'm telling you, even though I don't like him and I want him out of the UFC because he needs to make room for real talent, he can recognize those mistakes and he's really good at it. I hate giving him props, but you might not even realize it, but that's why you're picking him, and it's a good pick.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going to stand by it for sure. But we got 2 more fights to talk about. Speaking of flyweights, we're going to go back to them because we're going to talk about interim, I think, title shot match between Brandon Moreno versus Kai Kara-France. Now, here's the thing. I've never been a big Kai Kara-France fan. Like, I think he has talent, but I think there's guys that are just way better than him, personally. And obviously we see that. Brandon Moreno, here's the thing with him. Like, I don't know which Brandon Moreno is going to show up. If it's going to be the one that just fought against Figgy, we're going to be in trouble. Okay? Because he did all right, but he wasn't I don't think he was fully there. He wasn't the Brandon Moreno that won his championship belt recently, before Figgy won his belt back. But I think that it depends on which Brandon Moreno shows up. But I still have Moreno winning. Personally, Kai Kara-France just doesn't have it for me. I'm going to go to Alec Carr first. Who do you think is going to win this flyweight interim championship belt?
So first of all, I want to say it's a shame that this is an interim belt. I really don't think. I know Davidson's being the good sport about it. He's like, good. I want that to happen so I can unify the titles when I have to destroy one of these guys. I'm going to disagree with you, Monique. I think we all know I love Brandon Moreno. We all love Brandon Moreno. What's not to love? He's fun to watch. He's an exciting fighter. He's unlike the Lionheart Anthony Smith. Brandon Moreno has got probably the biggest heart in all of the UFC. The guy just keeps coming. He doesn't stop. I mean, I don't know what else Figgy had to do in that fight to get him out of there. But I think what we actually saw was a Figgy with a good weight cut. We saw Figgy with a good weight cut, not going in with an injury. Because we heard the first fight was the draw. He was in the hospital before that fight, even happened. The day before that fight happened, he was in the hospital because he didn't schedule his weight cut correctly. Dana White offered to cancel the fight. He, like the Figgy we all know and love, said, no, we schedule it. I'm fighting. So I think Brandon Moreno actually, listen, he's really, really good. He's definitely championship tier level talent. He's definitely a contender. I'm not saying those things. I just think we saw the talent disparity. Because Figgy's Figgy. Like, when he gets his weight cut right, the guy's unstoppable. He's got power for days, and he can bring you down to the ground and ride you out, too. Like, he is absolutely incredible in that division. I would have loved to see this Figgy versus Prime Cejudo because that would have been a fucking nuts fight. That being said, getting back to this fight, Kai Kara France has impressed the shit out of me. I'm not a fan. Not. I'll say it. I'm not a fan. I'm not the biggest believer in him. But his 3-fight run, murdering Cody Garbrandt, let's just say, murdering Cody Garbrandt the way he did, and then beating Askar Askarov the way he did it. I was watching that fight going, what is happening? Like, what? This is not the way this fight was supposed to happen. Askar Askarov was supposed to pick him apart. Askar Askarov had the length. He had the better talent. He could take Kai Kara France to the ground if he wanted to, but Kai just kept fucking coming, and he kept tagging him. And it was like Askar Askarov was like, what the fuck is going on? What is happening with this power? Kai Kara France has power for days, especially in this division. To have, and we see it with Figgy too, to have knockout power like these two guys do, like Figgy and Kai Kara do, is not really heard of in this division. Cejudo had it every once in a while, but the one-punch knockout power in this division is dangerous. It's really, really fucking dangerous. So I am going against my heart in this one. I think I'm going to ride the momentum and pick Kai Kara France. I love you, Brandon Moreno, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for you because, like I said, I'm not a fan of the other guy. But Kai, like this moment, coming off that victory against Askar Askarov, I don't know how I could pick against him. That was if you had Askar Askarov versus Brandon Moreno right now, and I'll pose this question to all of you, I would pick Askar Askarov. I don't know about you guys, but that's who I would pick to win that fight. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
So I mean, that being said, it's just hard to pick against them. So I don't know how it happens. I don't know if it's a knockout. I doubt it's a knockout because Brandon Moreno doesn't get knocked out. So, but I do think Kai will hurt him, and I think he'll hurt him early, like he has done multiple times. That's what happened in the Askar Askarov fight. He hurt him early, and Askar Askarov was afraid of that power for the rest of the fight. I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm picking against you. But Figgy is going to destroy whoever he fights next as long as he manages that weight cut.
For sure. All right, Dustin, who do you think is going to win in this flyweight interim championship belt?
Big fan of Kai Kara France. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm a huge fan. I don't know anybody.
The only fan in this panel. The only fan in this
Dude,
panel.
That dude is a beast. The dude's a beast. What can't you be a fan of? That dude's a beast. When you beat up Askar, bro, it is what it is. You beat up Corey. He made Garbrandt look like a child. He beat the shit out. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think he folds Brandon Moreno's ass up. I think Brandon Moreno's gonna get folded up. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm just saying, Brandon Moreno. I'm telling you that he had that little victory lap when he won that belt, and then Figgy watched that shit, and Figgy preyed on him. He thinks he's gonna get back, and I'm telling you, Kara France is about to drop him. I'm telling you, I think it's imminent. Because if he tries to wrestle Kara France, let's be real, I think he's a better athlete. I think Brandon Moreno, he caught lightning in a bottle. But I'm gonna tell you, I think France is about to knock his ass out. That's exactly what I see happening. And to be real,
listen. I'm gonna disagree with you on one point, Dustin. If this fight gets to the ground, let's not forget Brandon Moreno is I'm pretty sure a high-level black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Kai Kara France does not want this fight to go to the ground at all.
I'm not saying but Moreno's got to get it there. I mean,
he's got to get there, which is hard to do against Kai. I'll give you that. But yeah, that would be devastating for Kai because I feel like if that's Brandon Moreno's chance, if this fight gets to the ground, it's not coming back up.
For sure, guys. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, it's going to be one to watch out for. speaking of ones to watch out for this main event, we have Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes, and Nunes trying to get her bantamweight belt back. That's what's happening in this main event. Now, okay, guys, I don't know what's happening in the world of MMA Twitter, but everybody is saying Juliana Pena, not everybody, but like literally a lot of people are saying Juliana Pena's got this. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I like disagree with that. Now, it's just that Amanda Nunes, like, her, switching gyms and making her own gym, I feel like that was the biggest mistake that she's ever made. I think she should have stuck with Top Team personally, American Top Team. Everyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, but I think that definitely changed her game, and then that made the mistake that she made, which lost her belt, obviously. And I don't know. I think that Pena might be the person that has Nunes's, like her lock, like compared to Valentina Shevchenko, which obviously people can talk about like for days and days and all that. But basically, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards Pena, but I don't know why I'm doing it. I feel like I'm riding the train that everybody else is riding, especially people that are betting. People that are betting are saying Pena is gonna win, and they're betting on that, and it's gonna be a huge payout. I think it's like plus 450 if it was a finish or something like that. So I don't know why I'm doing this. Alec Carr, save me right now because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm leaning towards Pena, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna go to you. Who do you think is gonna win this fight?
I hate Juliana Pena. I'm just gonna say it. She is the female version of Cejudo. She is the queen of cringe. She is. I mean, to come out. The other thing is to come out and call Amanda Nunes not a mother because she's a lesbian. Fuck off. Fuck off. And then you had the balls to try to walk it back and say, that's not what I meant. You said not a mother. You said it. Amanda Nunes has been the most focused coach I've ever seen in tough history. She doesn't even give a shit about any of our fighters. I swear to God she didn't. I don't think she did. She's just like, I got to get through this. I got to whoop this fucking woman's ass. Calling me not a mother. That is not something you do. Period. I mean, if you have a kid, whether you're a father or a mother, like, it doesn't matter. You're still a parent, and you made it personal, Juliana Pena. You made it personal, and that was your mistake. Amanda Nunes looks like she's in the best fucking shape of her life. I will say that. She looks like she's always carried around a little bit of extra weight. She looks like she is ready. She's been ready to go for months. Like, since she lost, she looks like she's been ready to go. And she's been talking about that loss. And she's been talking about how she believed her own hype, that she could just walk in there and beat anyone because she was Amanda Nunes, the greatest women's fighter of all time. Probably on the Mount Rushmore of MMA. She knew it and she believed it. She got humbled, which can be one of the greatest things for a fighter ever. Amanda Nunes is going to win this fight. Amanda Nunes is going to win this fight any way she wants. I know that's what I literally said before in the first fight. But Amanda Nunes is going to win this fight any way she wants. And I really will. I went back and watched that fight yesterday again, right? And I can't stress it enough. That Amanda Nunes in that octagon looked nothing like the Amanda Nunes we know. Nothing like her. She got rocked, and she had no idea what to do. No idea. And she came out lazy. She came out dumb. She came out holding her chin up in the air, which she never does. She just came out all wrong. She came out looking like a person who thought she was just going to win. We've seen it happen over and over again. Dustin Poirier thought he was going to beat Stu Bronx. Justin Gaethje thought he was going to beat Stu Bronx. We see it all the time. People go in just thinking they deserve the win because they're that person. And that's what Amanda Nunes thought. And you can tell right now she doesn't think that. In the way she's talking and the way she's acting, she does not think that. And I thought it was hilarious, that axe throwing competition, to see how angry Juliana Pena was getting when she was, and this is petty and probably doesn't mean anything, But I don't know if you guys watched that episode or remember that episode. She was getting fucking pissed. She was in her head and couldn't get out of her head about it. Amanda Nunes, I think, is going to apply pressure early. I think she's going to land those leg kicks that she loves to land early on in the fight that she didn't even try to throw against Pena in the first one. And I think she's going to get in her head. And she's going to take away Pena's power right away from her. And then we'll probably see her shoot the takedown and take it to the ground. I get Amanda Nunes is the best fighter, women's fighter of all time, and I'll just say this: one of the greatest fighters in MMA history. Does Pena have a chance? Sure she does. Does Pena could Nunes start believing her own hype before Saturday night? Absolutely, she could again. I just don't see it happening. I think Nunes is on a warpath. I think she has a mission. I think she has a chip on her shoulder. And we saw her last time she had a chip on her shoulder against Cyborg, and we all saw what happened. Cyborg was supposed to win that fight. So I think she'll, because she's a much taller fighter and has much more length than Pena, and she'll remember how to use that, which she forgot about. Nunes, for me, take a couple of deep breaths, Monique. Nunes, for me, is winning this fight. I can't handle, and again, I know I'm picking with my heart, because I'll say this: I can't handle Pena as a champ. It will drive me fucking insane. It will be like Aljo as a champ. It will drive me so fucking crazy. I'll be. Anyway, I'm rambling. We could have thrown out my rant of the week. Fuck Juliana Pena. She just says horrible things all the time. I don't think she's a nice person. In Tough, she clearly didn't coach her fighters. Oh, and by the way, Amanda Nunes is training an American top team again before this fight.
Good. That's
so
good.
she's brought back her team. So I think this is a Nunes. I don't know how it happens, but I think it's a Nunes victory.
Yeah, before we go to Dustin, really quickly, I believe Juliana Pena made a comment saying, we'll see who has the better ovaries, or something like that. I remember, I just saw that on Twitter.
Bigger ovaries.
Yeah, bigger ovaries, better ovaries, whatever. She said something stupid like that, and so we are going to go to Dustin. Dustin, who do you think is going to win this bout between Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes?
You asking me now?
Yes, I am.
I think Juliana Pena says a lot of that shit to piss Amanda Nunes off, and I think it works. I think it works. That's Conor-esque. I don't give a shit anybody says. Conor be saying some shit. And I think Juliana Pena is saying some shit that Amanda Nunes piss her off. And I think that she actually pissed her off in the first fight, if no one remembers. Juliana talked shit to her in the first fight, and it pissed her off. And she walked in there. One thing I'm gonna discredit. I don't want to hear the blues about Amanda Nunes. I don't want to hear the excuses. I'd rather hear Nunes be like, "She got me." Period. She got me. She started off like that. Gave it 3 weeks. She's like, excuse. I don't want to hear that shit. That's why I think she didn't get beat again. Juliana Pena is a highly underestimated fighter. She really is. She's got a good hand. She's good on the ground, by the way. She is not a slouch. And when you're saying that Amanda Nunes got rocked, she knows what to do. Well, of course she don't know what to do. She just got her shit rocked. I mean, it is what it is. She's not used to that. And when she puts her chin up, I don't know about that, because every exchange I've seen her get in, her face is about level. Her thing is she's been stronger than every single person. Now, Cyborg, I disagree that Cyborg's supposed to win that fight. Cyborg's old. She's old as shit. Cyborg's been fighting since I was like 10. Like, okay, like that woman's old. Amanda Nunes is in her prime. She should have beat the shit out of her anyway. Either way, I didn't believe that Cyborg was just going to walk through Amanda Nunes. I never believed that in 1 second. I thought Amanda Nunes was going to knock her out just like she did. Amanda Nunes is used to driving the bus when it comes to the striking exchanges. When you get into the pocket, Amanda Nunes is just used to driving the bus. And when she tried to drive the bus against Juliana Pena, Pena stood there, took the punches, and punched her in her shit right back. That's really what happened. And Amanda Nunes was surprised at the fact that someone sat there, took those shots, and then gave her some back. And then she proceeded to give up. She gave the fuck up. That choke was disgusting. That was absolutely giving up. She wasn't hurt. She absolutely gave up. That's the way I saw. I've never seen someone get choked by a rear naked choke while they're in the fetal position. No hooks in. There's no leverage. She could have got out of that in any second. She's good enough at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's a very good on the ground. She gave up. I don't want to hear the bunch of sediment when it comes to Amanda Nunes. Now, do I think she's a good enough fighter to be Juliana Pena? Yes. And the whole thing about being in shape, but she looks skinny. I don't know about that. I don't know if skinny equals in shape. She looks pretty skinny. She doesn't look as thick as she usually does. And I'm telling you, that muscle on her, that's what gives you the power. That's when she could punch your lights out, when she was a little bit thicker. That's why she knocked out Cyborg. When she was able to weigh in 145, knocked her clean the fuck out. That's because she was bigger. 135, she's still big. So hopefully she puts on a little bit of mass when she weighs in. Because I know if she was so focused and tough, her team got her ass beat up. I'm gonna just be real. She was so focused. Her team got beat up. Juliana Pena, I'm not gonna say I like her personally because I don't know her. I think I'd probably like Amanda Nunes more if I sat down with the two. But Juliana Pena says that shit to piss her off, get under her skin, just like Conor does, just like a lot of shit talker does. Now, I don't know if she means that shit. I actually think she does, which is kind of the fucked up part about the mother thing. I think she means it. Because
based off of the other comments she's made throughout her career, she absolutely believes it.
I think she actually meant that. I'm not going to lie. I would say that shit talk, but I think it's both. I think it's shit talk and kind of, all jokes contain true shit. If you ever heard that line. So I think she really was going for the jugular there. But I think she's pissing her off. I think she's still pissing her off. I think at the press conference she's going to piss her off. Juliana's going to get in her fucking head, and we'll see. We'll see. When it comes to strike exchanges, do I see Amanda Nunes getting beat up like that again? No. I don't see it. But do I see Amanda Nunes beating her up like that? Probably not.
So
I think it's going to be simple.
Let me ask you something. So you think Amanda Nunes is the same mindset of Ronda Rousey then, who got lost and then was unable to never come back? Really?
When you have that godlike,
you think Amanda Nunes godlike mind about yourself. Same mindset.
I knew this was gonna happen.
What the fuck? Amanda Nunes, the person who didn't train with any females and only trained with men to be a better fighter. The person who came from nothing and built her entire life on fighting has the same mindset as Ronda Rousey? Come on, man. Amanda
what do you mean, same mindset?
From her mistakes. And by the way, no. Wait. You said Cyborg was old.
That's not what I said.
She
is old.
She's 33.
Alec, she's old.
She was 33 when
that woman has fought like over 30 times. She's fought like over 30 times. She is old. She is not the same Cyborg.
Then Jose Aldo, who's going on a run, who, by the way, Cyborg was going on a run. Then Jose Aldo is old and washed up. Next time he loses, he's old and washed up because he's old.
Alec. Hey, tell me about the talent in the UFC. Hey, whoa. Tell me about the fucking talent in the UFC 145 division, please. Fucking tell me the talent, Alec. What talent in the female universe is there in 145? If it's not fucking PFL. Because UFC don't got nothing. So what are you talking about? Cyborg is her fucking hill to stand on? Come on, bro. There's no talent in 145. None.
That's just wrong.
It's not wrong. Who's in the division, Alec? You name them off. Who's in the division that's super talented? That's actually a casual or somebody who would know a little bit of MMA would actually notice.
Oh, it doesn't matter if you actually know them or not.
It doesn't matter.
145?
There's no talent. There's no talent.
145, there's Caitlin Chukagian, there's Talia Santos, who's a beast, there's Lauren Murphy, there's Jessica Andrade.
Talia Santos.
And Valentina Shevchenko.
They don't fight at 145. They never fight at 145.
Valentina Shevchenko.
They never fight at 145. They never fight at 145, Alec. Never. Not once.
Okay.
I mean, once or
guys-
twice.
But wait, no. This isn't fair because you're talking about a women's featherweight division that doesn't exist in the UFC.
Because it sucks. No one's out there.
There's 0 fighters in it. Like, what are you talking about?
Duh. So is Cyborg is her fucking heel to stand up?
Oh
Come on,
my
bro.
god, get the fuck
Cyborg.
out of here. Cyborg was 33, still in her prime when they fought. She absolutely annihilated her. Get out of here with that, dude. That's insane. It's insane.
Okay. Cyborg is so impressive. So impressive.
She hasn't lost since then. Still, she's fighting.
She's at Bellator. What is she in some low ass promotion?
Doesn't matter. You're acting like she was a bad fighter. She hadn't lost before there.
Make her cut down to 135. Make her cut down to 135 and come to the UFC and see if that unbeaten streak doesn't get beaten, Alex. Tell me if that don't get beat in 135. Make her move down. Watch what happens if she joins the UFC.
You're insane.
It's not the only one.
You're insane.
All right. I mean, if you want to think a fighter who lost to the one UFC fighter, barely. Well, she got knocked the fuck out. But
yeah, she got knocked out by the greatest women's fighter of all time. Oh my god.
She wasn't the greatest. You didn't even let me finish. You did. I swear to God, you didn't let me finish. First of all, you started talking about Ronda Rousey and then personally. I don't give a fuck about them personally. It doesn't make any fucking difference to me. Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes are not the same person personally. What I'm saying is that godlike, when you walk into the octagon, Ronda Rousey had it. Amanda Nunes ended it. Amanda Nunes now has it. And now she's come back for that second time. Do I think they're
Are you listening to her talk? She's not saying.
Goddamn, I don't give a fuck what she said. I'm saying what I say, Alec. Goddamn. You gotta listen to me. You gotta let me fucking talk, bro. You can't keep interrupting me. You literally just did that. And we just had a fucking 10-minute conversation over nothing. Literally. You could have let me finish, but you didn't.
I'm sorry.
You think Amanda Nunes is just gonna just God, man.
I didn't say that. I said Pena definitely has a chance. But Amanda Nunes is the greatest fighter in women's history.
When Pena whoops her ass again, when Pena makes her give up again, I'm gonna be toxic as fuck. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm be on Twitter.
Sure, go ahead. And you know what I do? I'm sorry I was wrong, just like I always do, Dustin. And then you'll stop talking just like you always do.
No, I'm on your ass, just like I was Izzy, just like all of them. I'm gonna keep that.
Yeah, and what did I say? I was wrong.
Especially this time. Especially this time. You didn't let me finish. I had a good point. You didn't let me finish.
Let's go. I think we are at over the 1 hour mark right now. Let's go. You guys have to carry this on in the chats, okay? If anyone wants to talk about it, you have their
We'll talk about it after tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
No worries. We'll talk about it in the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in to Fight the App. Okay, you guys gotta put in the chats right now. Okay, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more. And then if you guys want to follow, there's Alec Carr MMA and then No Censor Sports. If you guys want to follow them on Twitter and talk about this topic even more, you can do so. My handle is at Monique Yip. You can do that as well if you want to talk to me about these topics. It's really interesting. I like having the banter between the two of you, but then at the end of the day, it was just really bad timing. Okay, because we got to end the show. Okay, next week I believe there's another fight night because there's like 10 weeks full of fights coming up. Let's go. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alec Carr. Is this the one with Hill and Santos?
Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Laptop this way. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I believe Brian Battle is also gonna be on that card. So you should watch out for that. Yeah, something like that, right? So
no, I think he got moved off the prelims.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, he got moved back down. Last time I saw him, he was moved back up. Now he's moved back down. Who the fuck knows what the UFC's doing?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that next week. Thank you guys for joining, and happy fight week, everybody.